Well, the haters were right, I guess. The transmission on this car just went out. You know, I was scared to buy stuff to modify this car because, you know, I was worried something like this would happen, but, you know. Well, I guess the haters were right. The Veloster had a catastrophic failure last night while I was coming from a long day of work. So I have the dash cam footage right here. I'm going to review it. So I'm going to take you through last night in chronological order. Luckily, I have a dash cam, but it only records whenever it thinks it's in an accident because there's something wrong with it. So the coverage is really spotty, but I labeled all the stuff that I found. These last few videos are me going to my house. I don't want to show you where I live, so yeah. We'll start here. Now you can see this is me coming back from my break. You hear the car? It sounds fine. It's shifting completely fine. It's driving okay. Now this is where the first problem is. You see, I stop at this stop sign. You hear, that was me trying to go into first gear. It didn't work. So I was like, okay, I went into second gear. Now that is kind of normal. Sometimes the car will hesitate going into first gear. So I try first gear again over here, merging into traffic, and it works. This is me in traffic, transmission working perfectly fine. This is me in traffic, not doing anything dumb. You can hear the transmission start acting up. You see, it wanted to shift there, but then it decided to change back. You can hear it being weird. This clip is when everything goes wrong. You can see I'm a bit closer to this car than I'd like to be because when I'm hitting the brakes, the car's still kind of going forward. Like, it's not enough to like make the car like rear end the car in front of it, but I can feel the car like pushing against the brakes. So I'm like, okay, that's not normal. And when I bring it to a stop, the car stalls. And that's the car dying. So here I am, I'm like, what the heck? So I try and start the car. It doesn't start, but then I realize it's still in drive. So I put it in neutral and I get the car moving back into the gas station. So yeah, that's the dash cam because I just restarted the car. Quick note, there's a cat over there, but you can see the car dying. And I managed to get it over here. And I decided to try turning the car off and back on to see if that will clear any codes or anything, if it's just like a electronic fault or something. This clip right here is where things get really crazy. This is just right after the last clip. I get back into the car and I decide to try and start it. The car's in neutral, it's not in park. When I was driving over to the gas station between the clips, you know, I could feel there was something definitely wrong with the transmission, and I didn't want to put it all the way in park because I didn't know if I was gonna be able to get it out. So I just pulled the handbrake, put it in neutral so I could start it again. And what happened next is when I knew I was cooked. So the car's in neutral. You hear the keys? I'm starting it. Pull down the handbrake. You see that? You see that little movement right there? The camera cut off because whenever I started the car, the power kind of blipped. In neutral, the car lurches forward. You can just barely see it because it cut out, but the car completely lurched forward in neutral. I ended up getting the car moving, and then it died right here. Well, it didn't die, but the transmission wouldn't go into any gears. There was somebody behind me, so I made the split-second decision instead of trying to go out on the road to turn this way. And you can hear me struggling to get the car in gear. That's the headlights of the car behind me. The car will not go into gear at this point. And then I finally get it in. I think this is second. Yeah, that's second because you hear it bogging. This right here is first gear. First gear has turned into neutral. Neutral has turned into first gear. So you can see me get to moving. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. This is when I figure out only second and fourth gear works, which means the first clutch has failed or is in the process of failing. So right here, I get off in second gear and I realize since the first clutch is going out, I can use second, fourth, and sixth to drive along. So here I am in second gear and I decide the car should be okay to drive home as long as I don't use the first clutch. And the car goes into traffic in second gear. So I try my hardest to shift up into fourth, but I have to get through third to get there. And you'll hear this. That that was third gear grinding, and I finally got it into fourth at the end right there. The reason I went so tall in second gear was because it wouldn't let me go into fourth until I was at a certain speed. So here I am in fourth gear, the car's driving okay, and I'm driving really slow trying to get home. And the car downshifts itself into second right here. This is when the car went into a limp mode. What the limp mode would do was it would completely deactivate the first clutch. So the car just straight up wouldn't shift into first, third, or fifth. And the jerk from that was enough to set off the little beep beep to make the dash cam think we were in an accident. Now this is me trying to get back to fourth gear. You hear a little bit of scrapage there. More scrapage. In this clip, I think I got it back into fourth, but the problem is it didn't have enough power to get up the hill, so it was really struggling. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. I don't want to show you where I live, but I made it home. I parked on the street. Oh, gosh. Yeah, that's how it went down. All right, so now I'm gonna see if I can get the car into neutral. I shouldn't need to start it to do that, but if neutral's broken, it's gonna create a much bigger problem trying to tow this thing. Well, not really, because it's front wheel drive, so you could just get like a normal tow, but on a flatbed, it would not go on there. All right, I'm gonna try and push it and see. That is not neutral. This is what happens when I stop posting for a week. I had not only a cold air intake coming for this car, but I actually got my first sponsorship. And now I don't know. Well, I might still film that video, but I can't move the car, so. Oh, goodness. This is impeccable timing. I found out I got a package, and I think this is what the sponsorship was for. Yep, it's exactly what I thought. These are LED headlights for the Veloster, which I was supposed to film a video on, and I got these for free, basically. Which I'm still gonna put them on the car, but yeah, it's not going anywhere. I'm gonna film that video later, and you'll probably see that video before this one. Now I need to call my insurance to see if I can get it towed to get an estimate, but it's more than likely the car's not gonna be able to be saved because the transmission for this car is probably gonna cost as much as we paid for it. And the engine's starting to develop a small ticking sound that's getting slightly worse over time. I know I didn't tell you guys about that, but, you know, I had so many plans for this car, but, you know, I guess it's just not how the cookie crumbled, and there's nothing I can do about it. But in the meantime, I'm going to be car shopping again, and it's definitely not going to be as cool as the Veloster. Well, cool as the Veloster. Right now, there's two main good options. Another Versa, which at this point, you know, the PTSD is kind of worn away, so I feel like I could do another Versa. I want a 350Z, but that's pretty much out of the bracket right now. Right now, I can't afford to maintain or pay insurance on a 350Z, or at least I don't think so. But hey, if I could get one, that would be cool, but yeah. Regardless, this car is probably going to be somehow even more boring than the Veloster, which is okay. It's okay. I don't need entertaining right now. Having a boring car is going to be even more motivation than ever to actually save up some money to achieve my dream car, or my attainable dream car, the 370Z. So I'm going to already start setting aside money. That way I can put it towards whatever I'm going to buy next. And maybe I'll even be able to get something nicer than, you know, I thought I'd be able to get. I guess that'll end today's video. Life's throwing curveballs, but God is still good, and I know I'll still push through somehow, so pray for me. I'm the Deuce Barado, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a blessed day.